Jack Brisco didn't need to scream, slap his thigh, or fake a seizure to get over. He walked in, stretched your guts out like a yoga mat, and left before the ring cooled off. Real wrestler, real shooter, real quiet. Until he hated you. Jack wasn't a gossip. He didn't throw soup in the locker room or cut tearful promos about respect. He just stopped looking at you like you existed. The guy was built like a farm-fed panther and had the morality of a pissed-off sheriff, old school and judgmental, but deadly accurate. If you crossed the line, he didn't clap back. He made sure you never worked again. People say he didn't hate anyone. Yeah, and Andre was a cruiserweight. Jack Brisco had heat, not the loud, meth addict energy of 90s locker rooms, but real, adult, grudge holder heat. It just took a lot to make his list. 4 people ever got there. 4. Because Brisco didn't beef over politics. He beefed when you disrespected wrestling. This wasn't about spot stealing or jealousy. These were the guys who really triggered him. A former champ who broke his trust, a stiff psycho who hurt rookies for fun, a kayfabe snitch who exposed the business on national TV, and a TV executive who thought wrist locks were optional. He even hated Harley Race, yes, Harley, for a minute. That's how serious Brisco's standards were. You could be an 8-time champ and still get the cold shoulder if you played dirty. This is Jack Brisco's real-life shoot hate list. No gimmicks, no forgiveness. Just 4 guys who made a Florida gentleman burn hotter than a Pensacola sunburn. Let's get brutal. Now you'd think Jack Brisco and Harley Race, 2 of the toughest men to ever sweat through a title defense, would be bonded for life. Same era, same belt, same I'll break your ribs and shake your hand. Energy. And for the most part, yeah, they were cool, but not always. There was a flashpoint, a real one, where Brisco hated Harley. Not just annoyed, not mad in the moment, but thought Harley Race was a backdoor sneaking snake-mouth scumbag. Here's the setup. Brisco was the NWA World Champ, the top guy. The belt didn't just mean you were over, it meant every territory trusted you not to screw the pooch. That job wasn't for fragile egos. And yet, somehow, during a title switch negotiation in the 70s, Harley tried to maneuver himself into the spot without Brisco's approval. Brisco smelled it. And when Jack Brisco smelled a double cross, he didn't write a letter, he shut down. There was a time I didn't like Harley at all. I thought he was trying to pull a fast one, and I don't play that. Brisco, 1990s shoot-style interview. For Brisco, that was it. Brief, but real. He hated dishonesty, and he hated politics even more. Harley, with all his Marlboro charisma and brawling badassery, was still a hustler when he wanted something. Brisco caught that whiff, and the respect evaporated. For a while. Now, they did eventually squash it. Years later, after the belts had changed hands and the bodies got older and slower, Brisco said he respected Harley again. And Race, for his part, never buried Jack publicly. But make no mistake, during that fallout window, Brisco thought Harley Race was a snake with a handlebar mustache. And in Brisco's world, that meant you were 2 steps from the graveyard. Even legends can land on the hit list. Harley just got lucky and crawled off it. Jack Brisco respected a lot of guys. Bob Roop wasn't one of them. Now Roop had the resume. Former Olympian, amateur standout, legs like tree trunks. On paper, he looked like the kind of guy Jack might have had a beer with after a hard-fought hour draw. But in real life, Roop wrestled like he was mad you owed him child support. He was stiff, smug, and had all the social grace of a raccoon with a concussion. Every time a green kid walked into the ring with Bob Roop, they left looking like they just got beat up behind an Applebee's. And for what? Because Roop thought being an Olympian meant he could play prison rules with jobbers who barely owned boots. There's working snug, and then there's Roop, who treated the ring like a holding cell. Paraphrased from Brisco's inner circle. Jack Brisco saw it plain. Roop wasn't protecting the business, he was exposing it. He took pride in humiliating people who couldn't fight back. That didn't make him a shooter, that made him a coward with credentials. Brisco didn't confront him in public, he didn't need to. He just made sure Roop's name disappeared from any locker room that still gave a damn about protecting the business. Quiet revenge, the kind you don't see until you're working third match in Amarillo for $50 and a meat tray. And let's not forget Roop's backstage resume. The guy was always circling coup attempts like a buzzard in a blazer. Every time a promoter turned his back, Roop was there trying to start a rebellion with 5 bitter mid-carders and a clipboard. Jack Brisco saw that junk coming a mile away. He didn't just hate Roop's in-ring habits. He hated that he acted like Vince McMahon, but worked like a sour gym coach. I didn't trust him, never did. He wanted to hurt people, not help them. Brisco, By way of multiple locker room vets, Jack wasn't loud about it. He didn't need a camera. But when Bob Roop walked into a room, Jack Brisco walked out. And if Roop ever wondered why his name stopped getting booked in certain places, that was Jack's way of stretching him. So if you are enjoying this wrestling stories, real, bitter, and full of shoot venom, hit that like button like you're Jack Brisco cutting Roop off a booking sheet. Subscribe for more backstage blood and bruised egos. No fairy tales, just receipts. Eddie Mansfield wanted to be famous. But when the crowd didn't care and the promoters didn't call, he found a plan B, torched the business, and hoped the fire got picked up on cable. In 1984, Mansfield strutted onto 2020 like a divorced magician with a grudge. He didn't expose the business because it was noble. He did it because no one wanted to book a guy who looked like Kenny Powers in a borrowed robe. He pulled back the curtain on kayfabe, exposed finishes, locker room secrets, and even faked taking a bump for the cameras. America didn't get smarter. Just got confirmation that Mansfield was the kind of guy who'd tattle during a bar fight while still holding his drink. Jack Brisco saw that and didn't just hate it, he took it personal. Brisco had protected the business like it was a sacred handshake between killers. Mansfield turned it into an after-school special. He never drew money. He never respected the ring. He just wanted attention. Brisco said with enough salt to make beef jerky jealous. This wasn't whistleblowing. It was whining. Mansfield wasn't mad about low pay. He was mad nobody saw him as important enough to stiff. So he aired out wrestling like a jilted side chick and thought it made him Rosa Parks. What it made him was unemployed. Brisco never once said his name in a positive sentence again, didn't want him around, didn't want him mentioned. If you even looked like Eddie Mansfield, Jack might have made you change in the hallway. The guy made his whole legacy off betrayal. That ain't a career, that's a Yelp review from hell. Old Florida vet. Shoot panel, 2003. Jack didn't punch Mansfield. He didn't have to. He just outlived him in the industry, then wrote him out of the story like a typo. Eddie wanted to be remembered. Brisco made sure he was, just never for wrestling. Eric Bischoff never took a bump, never worked a match, never paid a real wrestling due. But somehow he still managed to land on Jack Brisco's shoot-hate list just by talking too much and thinking even more. Jack didn't hate Bischoff because of ego, he hated him because of everything else. In the 90s, while Bischoff was power sliding through Turner hallways with a can of Surge and a 4-minute karate background, Brisco was watching a real sport turn into a boy band with pyros, and he hated it. When you give the keys to a guy who never laced boots, don't be surprised when he drives the company into a wall. Brisco, paraphrased through clenched teeth. Jack was already done wrestling by then, but his soul was still married to the NWA playbook. Tough guys, long matches, and no production crew doing more cardio than the main event. Watching Bischoff turn WCW into a leather pants parade made him sick. He didn't bury Eric by name in public often. Jack was old school. He didn't blog. But in private, he and Gerald roasted Bischoff harder than Florida sun on a bald spot. He ain't a wrestler. He's a game show host with a tan. Brisco, as quoted by Gerald Brisco in backstage interviews. The Briscos never forgave Bischoff for what WCW became. Wasted talent, bloated egos, random karate fights. Jack watched guys like Lou Thez and Danny Hodge get pushed out of memory while Disco Inferno got TV time, and it ate him alive. To Brisco, Bischoff wasn't just the wrong guy. He was the death of wrestling values. Slick-talking, camera-hogging, merch-moving hype with zero spine behind it. If wrestling had a Mount Rushmore of people who never earned the right to touch it, Brisco would have chiseled Bischoff's face into the first rock, upside down. Jack didn't scream about Bischoff. He didn't need to. He just stopped acknowledging anything that came out of Atlanta after 1995. That silence? That was hate with class. This wasn't some cranky old-timer whining about the business today. This was a killer, quiet, cold, technical, who hated with surgical precision. If you made his list, you earned it. Not by being annoying, by being disrespectful to something bigger than ego, merch, or airtime. See, most guys held grudges like bad tattoos. Jack held his like legal evidence. He didn't shout, didn't gossip, didn't flip catering tables. He just shut the door behind you and made sure nobody inside heard your name again. Some guys he hated for a minute. Others he hated forever. But if you disrespected the code, if you exposed the art, sandbagged the green kids, or tried to hijack the business in a cheap suit with zero mat time, he didn't just dislike you, he wanted you forgotten. He wasn't some kayfabe cop. He wasn't romantic about it. He just knew the difference between someone protecting the sport and someone choking the life out of it for attention. And if you landed in that second category, he didn't offer forgiveness, just distance. The kind of distance that got real cold real quick. You didn't need to hear him say it. You could feel it. The handshake that never came back, the booking that dried up, the silence that followed you into every locker room that still had shooters left in it. He never needed to scream because silence was the burial, and by the time you realized it, you were already on the floor. Not pinned, just erased. Like what you heard? Then hit that smash subscribe and slap the bell like you're cutting someone off the card with a smirk and a stretched neck. Thanks for watching.